For a limited time only, get your hands on the Perca-Cola sticker pack. A link is down below.
With the evil vanquished, I can start making it all nice again. No undead, no apothecons, no shadow man. All of it gone. Forever. But here's the funny thing. You snowflakes shouldn't even still be here. You should be fading out of existence by now. Those blood vials. I was wondering when you'd bring this up. They're from realities we've already closed off. They shouldn't be here. They can't be here. Such a paradox means you're putting my perfect world at risk. You guys and your bloody free will. What to do? What to do? Well, you certainly can't stay here. You could send us somewhere else. Somewhere we've never been. I suppose I could make a little corner somewhere in history. A place where I can dump some of the other shit that I've left over. Or I just wipe you from existence. Ooh, hang on. Actually, that all works out perfectly.
As if the Revelations ending was not controversial enough, this segment of the ending has sparked a bit of a heated debate in the community. In the left corner of the ring, you have members of the community that say Dr. Monty absolutely knew he was creating a loop when he sent our characters back in time. In the right corner of the rink, you have members of the community that say Dr. Monty unintentionally created the loop. He just threw our characters into a random point of history, and then they just happened to go on and become Primis. So which is it? Did he intentionally create the loop, or did he unintentionally create the loop? Well, let's break it down and find out. Our characters are definitely in an infinite cycle, and let's define the scope of this cycle, because I don't think everybody understands exactly what the range of this infinite loop is. Our characters go on their adventure that they go on in Black Ops 3. They're collecting souls, they go to Revelations, they have their great battle, and then right before they're about to fade away, they use the blood vials to save themselves, and they still exist despite their universe no longer existing. This ruins Dr. Monty's perfect world, and this upsets Dr. Monty because a paradox like this could create problems that you might not be able to foresee. Now, what does he do to solve this problem? He takes our four characters and he just throws them back in time. And now back in time, they suddenly become the Primis characters. Now, Primis were the original keepers. They led in the Great War to help defeat the original apothecons and vanquish them for the first time. And then after the Great Battle, they disappear, as we learn from Pablo Marinus' journal. Now, they disappear after that, but they probably eventually end up dying. The Primis crew most likely isn't immortal. Some people even suggest that Origins is the tomb of the prison characters. So we have that going on. The Primis crew doesn't live forever. They end up dying, but history goes on, and then our Origins characters are born, and then they go through World War I and World War II, and they get captured, and they go on this adventure again, only to end up surviving being wiped away after Dr. Monty ends all the other universes. And then Dr. Monty, of course, sends them back in time to live as the Primis crew, and then history progresses again to the point where they're born again. Now, do you understand how this infinite loop works? It's not a matter of our characters living forever. It's just that because they get sent back in time, history repeats itself. This is the loop. Dr. Monty is definitely an antagonist. He may not necessarily be evil, but he is a problem and does present road bumps for our characters to have to surpass. He wants them gone. He doesn't want them to exist in his perfect world. In his world, they should no longer be there because their universe no longer exists. However, our characters don't want this. They want to continue living. They were promised riches if they went on this journey and succeeded, not just to fade away into oblivion. So now we see a conflict arise between Dr. Monty and our 4 characters. We also have this cipher in Revelations that, when solved, paints Monty in a pretty ugly light. We get the message, "I am the last of us, but I will be joining you soon, my friends. Cough, cough, death is near." I hope that what we have done doesn't come back to bite this universe in the ass. Thank God we will all be gone, because if Monty ever found this place, we would have been in a world of shit. Maybe now, with all of us gone, the children will truly be safe. Now, it's really hard to find the context for this situation, because this is something we haven't quite experienced in the zombie storyline yet. It seems as though Tank Dempsey is the last of our 4 characters. For some reason, they have all died, but they seem to have corrected things in such a manner that Monty won't turn everything to shit. Dempsey paints Monty in this terrible light, and this is how we can prove that Dr. Monty is definitely an antagonist in our character's journey. I'm not going to say he's evil because that hasn't been confirmed, but what he wants is not what our characters want. This cipher makes it 100% clear that Dr. Monty and our characters are opposing one another. They might not be enemies in the sense that Dr. Monty is evil and he's trying to just conquer the world like the Apothecans are, but maybe this is a situation where what he wants is not what is best for our characters and the rest of the universe. Maybe he just has a different vision of things that opposes what our characters feel is correct, and that's where the conflict arises. If this is the case, we must stop Dr. Monty, and maybe the loop is the reason why Primis fails. We were told in this cipher that although they have found the way, Primis will fail. And is Primis gonna fail because they are unknowingly stuck in an infinite loop? That may actually be why Primis fails their mission overall. It might not be because of the Apothecans, it might not be because of some plot twist, it might not have been because Dr. Maxis had opened up the summoning key and unleashed the Shadow Man. No, it might have been because Dr. Monty was never stopped, and because he was never stopped, our characters find themselves stuck in this loop forever. And this is where people get the idea of an alternate ending, a super Easter egg. And maybe the super Easter egg will allow us to break the cycle rather than complete the cycle, and we can stop Dr. Monty. Remember that by the end of things, Dr. Monty wins. He's not stuck in the loop. Our characters are stuck in the loop. He gets his perfect world. Time moves on and progresses normally for him in a linear fashion, while our characters find themselves infinitely stuck in this torturous loop. He wins. He gets the perfect world exactly the way he wants it, and maybe by stopping him, we can create a better, more perfect tomorrow. That might be the goal in stopping Monty. And now we come back to our original question. Did Dr. Monty intentionally create the loop? Now the evidence points to Monty intentionally creating the loop. He says he came up with the perfect solution, and then he sends them back as the Primis crew. And this works because by the end of things, Monty wins. He gets rid of the paradox. They're no longer there. They're out of sight, out of mind. They're stuck in an infinite loop, so they never really present much of a problem for him in the future. How could they affect him in the future if they're stuck in that loop forever? He's basically created a time prison for them, if you can imagine it like that. And that leads into the thought that Dr. Monty did intentionally banish our characters to this infinite loop. Now, there's other people that suggest that maybe the infinite loop was an accident. Dr. Monty very offhandedly goes, oh, I can just dump shit in some part of history. He's not thinking about a specific place, he's just gonna dump it somewhere, and maybe that is what happened. This is all about how you interpret Dr. Monty's words, his expressions, and how he says them. If you feel as though he just randomly dumped our characters into a certain part of the universe, I can't tell you that's wrong. That's probably not it's not really what I believe, but it's not a wrong theory. You could just say it was an accident. He didn't mean to intentionally banish our characters to this loop. However, I believe he did, because he had it as a second thought, and this works out well for Dr. Monty's motives and works against our characters' motives, and clearly those motives oppose one another, and Dr. Monty seems to have come out as the victor by sending our characters to this infinite loop. That's going to wrap things up for this video. If you enjoyed the video or found it interesting, give it a like, maybe subscribe. If you have any questions or anything about the Revelations storyline you want me to cover, leave them down below. I'm going to go though, have a wonderful day, and bye.